This is Superior Sports Talk with Reggie Wilson and Luke Inman, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Back in the lab, Reggie and Luke back at it. Another episode of Superior Sports Talk presented by Locked On Sports Minnesota. What's going on, Reggie?
What's happening? Hey, like the Flames and the Twins and all those. I'm feeling like I'm scoring a lot today.
Man, oh man, yeah, we got to talk about that Twins offensive explosion, putting up 14 last night versus the A's. We're going to touch on Tiger Woods' chances during the weekend's PGA Championship. Plus, later I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat with What Does It Mean? It's all coming up on Superior Sports Talk. But first, if you enjoy Superior Sports Talk, you'll also enjoy our other daily show with former NFL receiver Ron Johnson. Ron offers the unique view of an athlete turned broadcaster and brings you high-profile guests like Braylon Edwards, Adam Thielen, and Robert Smith. Subscribe to the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel or your favorite podcast feeds so you never miss an episode. All right, Reggie, well, let's talk about those Twins, shall we? Twins win, take the series from the A's last night going off with 14 runs. Gary Sanchez with 3 ribbies. Sonny Gray finally gets his first dub of the season. Plenty to discuss, but first, Reggie, your just quick takeaways from yesterday's performance.
Sheesh.
Woo, felt good.
This was the thing to me that was standing out. Didn't have much production from Buxton. Mm-hmm. No home runs. Mm-hmm. Just slapping hits all over the field.
Double after double.
It was great, man. And then for all the guys that and gals that were like, oh no, Royce Lewis got sent down, Carlos Correa's back. And then that article from Buster Olney yesterday talking about Correa's not expected to, re-up with Minnesota next season. Everybody's just like all butthurt and up in arms about, what they're doing with Correa coming up, Lewis going back down. Correa's like, you know what? I'm just going to come back from this finger injury with 2 hits. What's up? And I had a play at the plate that, the throw was nice. It was kind of off a little bit, but it was still good enough to get the runner out at home. So he's like, look, defense, offense, what more do you want from me?
He's starting to warm up here a little bit. Yeah, and in fact, actually a big game from the Twins free agents. Carlos Correa, as you mentioned, 2 hits. Gary Sanchez with 3 ribbies.
He's heating up.
Yeah, Gio Urshela, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Reggie, Twins made a lot of moves this offseason, brought in a lot of new pieces to the lineup, something that Twins fans just aren't used to. So far through, 6 weeks or so, how would you grade their free agent acquisitions? I mean, who's been their best pickup thus far and had the biggest impact for the Twins through the first 6 weeks, in your opinion? Who's kind of standing out from that free agent pool?
If it wasn't for Correa, hurting that finger and whatnot, I would probably go there. But they got Gary Sanchez in that trade, and he is starting to show, some promise. He's starting to show and look like the Gary Sanchez that we saw, a few years ago when the Yankees were really high on him. And so, he's always been like the X factor to me. If he can have, any type of positive production from his position, like I think that's a luxury for the team. Like I said, even on a day where Byron Buxton, he comes back, everybody's like, no, you got to play Byron Buxton every day. Like, what's going on? He shouldn't be resting. There's no load management in baseball. What are you talking about? He goes 0 for 4 yesterday. And his teammates picked him up. Everybody else had a hit. You know what I mean? And so I'm impressed with some of these guys that they've gotten to kind of fill out the roster, to kind of become, complementary pieces to their stars. And, so far so good, man. It's looking good. And this is that, sweet part of the schedule, like we said, where guys like Gary Sanchez, guys like Carlos Correa can start to pick up some momentum, can start to pick up some confidence. And then that kind of carries you once you start getting into the nitty-gritty when you go up against Toronto, Boston, some of these teams that are expected to be great this season. And now you got a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence from those games against teams where you are supposed to win, because you're doing well and you're showing and proving against those teams, and now it's kind of carrying over into the next game. So I'm eager to see how things play out over the next couple of weeks with some of these guys, and see, with him now being healed up from that finger injury, seeing Carlos Correa take off a little bit. Like, it's time to go, brother. Let's do it.
It's funny, if I were to tell you yesterday Twins are going to put up 14 today,
yeah,
you would have said, okay, Buxton probably went what? 3 for 5.
3 for 5.
4 for 5,
yeah.
3 ribbies, stolen base. No, he goes 0 for 4, Reggie. And it's almost like they don't need him to produce. They just need him in the lineup. Something about Buxton just being in the lineup. He just
gives
impacts
confidence.
That lineup. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just impacts the guys around him in that lineup in so many different ways. Touching on those free agents, as you mentioned, Sanchez, he's got 4 home runs, 17 ribbies on the year, mostly as a DH. Hasn't played in a whole ton of games yet either. So pretty good pace. Urshela, he's been a gem defensively with his glove at third, and no doubt the best is still yet to come with Carlos Correa finally getting healthy and
Sonny
his bat
Gray
starting to heat up. Sonny Gray, another one. I haven't even touched on the pitchers. Yeah, another good one there, Sonny Gray. ESPN's weekly power rankings dropped, and the Twins dropped 1 spot. They go from 11 to 12. Yeah, exactly. Twins' biggest division threat, Chicago White Sox, they put at 14. The Guardians dropped 1 spot from 15 to 16. Reggie, it's so easy to forget the Twins were rocked by the Astros just a series ago, hence the drop 1 spot most likely. The article mentions how lucky they got, stating he could have easily been lost for the season. And then the Twins season likely would have had a big rainy cloud over their head for the rest of the year. They go on to give high praise in the article for Royce Lewis and the future of the Twins shortstop position for years to come. I guess just your quick thoughts on the ESPN's latest power rankings this week.
So I think it's interesting, okay, maybe that injury is bad, and Correa does miss more time than he needs to. I know it's small sample size, but it seemed to be that Royce Lewis was going to fill in pretty swell. I think he would have done what he needed to do, and so it's just so funny because before the season, it was like, wow, Carlos Correa chose the Twins, let's go, and now it's like, well, okay, it seems to be that he is more of a luxury now, considering, everything that we've seen so far from Royce Lewis. And it's so funny because, like I said, small sample size, we don't know how he would have kind of transitioned to the game over 60 games, something like that, had Correa missed more time. But you know what? If I'm a Twins fan, I'm good. I'm like, look, thank you for this ranking at 12. We were happy to be at 11. Thanks for giving us some respect. And look, we only dropped 1 after getting beat down by the Astros. All right, I'm cool with that. Let's see what's up. And also, what a luxury it is to have a guy like Royce Lewis that you can just bring up. I think, as I was saying yesterday, if you're not going to play him often and play him every day, I think that it is advantageous for them to send him back to where he can play every day in St. Paul, so that once you bring him up, he's hot. He's in a rhythm and he can help the team. And I think what you saw is the future is bright. But, sometimes when you get a glimpse into your future, you're just like, ooh, I want it now. I want it now. And the Twins are like, hold on there, Skip. Just settle down. It's coming. Just not right now. We got some other things we're working through. Yeah. But, with everything that this team has been through, we talked about all the injuries that they faced, and the adversity that they've had to play through so far this season. I mean, even freaking Rocco Baldelli has gone down this year. Put him on the IL this year. I think it's incredible that they're 22 and 16 at number 12 on these rankings. Like, just for them to be, top 15 in this list is pretty cool.
Great point there with Royce Lewis. I don't think a lot of fans really realize that, there was some thinking to the madness behind sending Royce Lewis down.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for these guys to come up cold turkey after 5 nights off, haven't been in the batter's box in a while, and go in there and produce. Now he can stay in a rhythm, keep that hot momentum going down for the St. Paul Saints down there in AAA. When you bring him back up, he's ready to roll. Always kind of fun to check in with those power rankings from time to time, see what the experts are saying. Yankees, by the way, number 1 ranked team, followed by the Dodgers, Astros, and Mets, rounding out the top 4 in the bigs right now. Some tough news for the Twins in the injury department as Chris Paddack will undergo Tommy John surgery for now the 2nd time in his career. Twins traded away, remember, their stud reliever Taylor Rogers in a deal to acquire the starting pitcher from the Padres. Reggie, when you look back now and reevaluate the trade, which was pretty ballsy move at the time given their lack of depth and firepower in the Twins bullpen, it's going to be easy to say the Twins lost this one, but I think fans need to remember Rogers is going to be a free agent after this year, and it was rumored the Twins were likely going to have to let him walk at season's end. Paddack, meanwhile, remains on a 3-year deal, so if he can bounce back healthy next season, maybe the big trade won't be a total loss. Maybe your quick thoughts.
Yeah, it just sucks, man.
It hurts.
And it's tough because, like, when you see Taylor Rogers over there living his best life, you're just like, dang, man.
That would be
nice. I mean, regardless of, the Twins having a closer who tops out at 103 on the gun, regardless of that. But, I think pitching is always a position of strength if you have it. And I think what is tough about this is now you're looking at a pitcher that has availability every day. And now you're looking at your own guy and you're just like, dang, we won't see him until next year at the earliest, maybe around June or July of next season, which is like, okay. We talked about the whole next man up mentality with the Twins. They've already had to endure it so much this season, but I don't think they really wanted to have to be without, especially, how much they've sniffed at Paddack in the past, and to finally be able to get him. And now you got Tommy John surgery, and it's the 2nd time that he's had it in his career. He got it once before when he was 20 years old, and now he's getting it again. And so that's tough, man. That's really tough because, this was already a team that you looked at the starting pitching and like thought that it was a bit of a weakness for them. And now, you take a big swing and grab a guy like Paddack to bring him in, and all of a sudden he has an elbow issue, and now he's on the shelf with Tommy John. And that's tough, man. That's really tough, and we hope to see him back and healthy. It's great that, they do have several more years of control with him, like you said, 3 more seasons. And so you hope that, he comes back and, next year you got a healthy Paddack, you got a healthy Maeda, and now you're talking about a rotation that is pretty formidable, pretty strong. But for this season, you have to wonder, with some of the pieces that they have, some of these bats that have shown improved, or Correa, do they take another swing at a pitcher if they come to a point, towards the deadline where they are kind of teetering on being a playoff team or teetering on, getting over the top as a playoff team. And they're like, we need something else to get us there. We need something else to sustain us. Do they explore maybe Correa? Do they explore maybe one of these hotshot prospects that seem to have a bright future with the organization? Maybe they take a swing at another starting pitcher for this season. You don't know, but that part really sucks. It really stings for the Twins because Paddack was a guy that they had a lot of high hopes for, and now he's lost.
The blueprint is out there in the MLB. That's what you do come, thick of the summer, July, trying to make that postseason run. Carlos Correa just owns so much name brand value, you should be able to go get a stud number one pitcher to throw in there with Joe Ryan and give you a great 1-2 punch going into the playoffs, especially if you think and you're confident Royce Lewis and that transition from Correa to Royce Lewis is going to be a smooth one. It's going to be interesting. You mentioned, though, too, just looking ahead, I don't know what these guys' contracts are. We'll pull it up maybe tomorrow or later in the week. But Kenta Maeda's coming back maybe at the end of the year. Paddack, you get him hopefully coming off Tommy John. And then you got these guys, Sonny Gray, Archer, obviously Joe Ryan. It's just going to be an interesting start to the 2023 season next year and that rotation. Just such a grab bag of mixed guys, a lot of potential, some good high-end starters, some inning eaters at worst for sure, but just a lot of question marks, a lot of unknowns right now looking ahead with some big names. Twins get into the thick of this soft spot in the schedule now. A little breather here. Twins play tomorrow again, first pitch at 7:10. Hence why no pitching decided yet as far as that starter goes. All right, coming up, we're talking some NBA and NHL playoffs, and later I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat. But first, do you want instant post-game reaction from insiders that cover your favorite teams? Check out our Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Following every Twins, Vikings, Wolves, or Wild game, our Locked On team hosts are broadcasting live with team insiders like Kevin Gorg for the Wild and Brandon Warren for the Twins. Never miss a podcast by subscribing to Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. Now, let's get them caught up on some NBA and NHL playoffs going across the land. Let's start in San Fran, where the Warriors dusted up on Luka and the Mavs, taking game one easily, 112-87. Warriors come out on fire in the third quarter. They never look back. Steph with 21 and 12 boards. Luka held in check most of the night. He throws up 20 points. Never really found a way to take over like we're used to seeing. I think most experts probably had Golden State in this one, but not many had them winning by a margin like this in such a fashion. What'd you see from last night's game?
Luke. They whooped that trick last night. Like, goodness gracious.
We're back at it.
They had a Warriors third. It's so interesting seeing this Warriors team because everybody's just like, look, this team has a championship pedigree. They've been there, done that. And it's like, look, yes, but like if you look at this team, you're only talking about Steph, Clay, Draymond, I guess Looney, if you know. But those are the three guys that have remained during this time, and Steve Kerr. Well, I guess Mike Brown too. He's on his way out. But like this team largely different. You added Andrew Wiggins. You added it's a pool party. It's baby. A pool party.
He's been going off. Great season.
Oh my goodness. Like he is phenomenal. Also, as Deion Sanders would say, pay that man. Like they're gonna have to money. Yeah, they're gonna have to pay that man. I think it's interesting. This team has redefined and reconstructed itself to be just like the teams that we saw when they were making the championships run. People are like the new death lineup with Steph, Clay, Poole, Wiggins, and Draymond at the five. Like, back then it was, Iggy and KD, like those guys coming in and they were the death lineup. And it's just so interesting, man. Like this team has retooled over the past few seasons, endured some terrible seasons trying to get Clay back. And, they took a swing at D'Lo, traded him for Wiggins, and now they kind of have – it's interesting to see like Wiggins kind of realize his potential on this Warriors team. And he had a great night last night. And it's funny. They were swarming Luka. Like every time he got the ball, they were double teaming him. They were like throwing hands at him, swiping at the ball. There was a few turnovers where he was just like, trying to do his Luka thing. And a player's just like, oop, I'll have that. And they're going the other way with it. Like they seem to have found maybe not a blueprint, but they found something that works really well to slowing down Luka. And it's going to be interesting to see how Jason Kidd and the Mavs adjust and try to get back some control in this series, because the Warriors have shown like they can avalanche you and it could be ugly really quick.
Yeah, well, we talked about how important coaching is. So Jason Kidd had high praise for specifically Andrew Wiggins and just the blueprint they laid out to stop Luka. He was averaging 31.5 points per heading in. Props to Wiggins specifically, again, who did a great job stifling Luka end to end. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself here. Still a lot of basketball left to be played in this one.
Yeah.
I still think this one goes 7 personally. Comes down to the wire. I'm not too worried about Luka quite yet. He's too good, too impactful to stay quiet and not take over a game or two or maybe even 3. We'll see. He'll get his, and the Mavs, I think they're going to make this one close when it's all said and done. Hey, let's slide over to the NHL where, oh my goodness,
sheesh,
what in the world happened in Calgary last night? Shh, you hear that? Another goal was just scored. 15 goals. 15 goals in this one. An instant ESPN classic. Flames beat the Oilers 9-6, 2 field goals to 3 in game 1 and put on a display for the ages. Reggie, help me out here. Where do we even start with a score like that?
So this was a defensive battle.
A chess match.
Field goals kicked.
Yeah.
You know, between the Patriots and the Browns back in 1998. No defensive battle. The Patriots the Patriots pull it out 9-6 over the Browns in a week 5 special. You know, like it was kind of crazy. Like, it's funny because like when I was trying to figure out like the game of hockey, and you know, there are games that, you know, 1-0, 2-1,
oh yeah,
you know, things like that, and it's just like, oh, okay, all right. But like watching a game like that kind of spoils you, right? Because you're just like, ooh, and then someone taps you on the shoulder like, hey, don't get used to that. That's not a normal thing, especially in the playoffs. You're not expecting a team to score 9 goals. Like, are
Absolutely
you crazy?
Not. Right?
Are you crazy? Like, I think that was, well, for one, it was highly entertaining, but also just like highly unlikely that we'll see something like that again.
How about the Oilers? Like, how are the Oilers feeling today? They put up 6 goals, Reggie,
and they lose.
I mean, if
they
I
gave up 9.
Yeah, if I were to tell you the Oilers would put up 6 goals in game 1 and be down 1-0, no chance you'd look at me with a straight face. It's like, again, what we talked about with the Twins. If I told you the Twins put up 14 and Buxton goes 0 for 4, no way you look at me with the straight face. But, I mean, that's how it rolled last night. Again, just a highly entertaining game is the word to use there for sure. Game 2 of that tomorrow night. Puck doesn't drop until 9:30. Other NHL news, Hurricanes take down the Rangers 2-1 in overtime to grab game 1.
That was a good one, too.
That was a good one, yeah. More your stereotypical, again, playoff NHL type of hockey matchup there. They'll play again tomorrow night as well. Reggie and I will be back here Monday to break down all that action. All right, well, the time has come.
Here we go.
My favorite segment is here. I'm putting Reggie right on the hot seat, covering all the latest hot topics in sports right now. Let's start here in golf. The PGA Championship starts today, and after winning the Masters in April, Scottie Scheffler is the favorite to win it all again. However, according to Vegas, the most bets were placed on Tiger Woods leading up to the tournament, despite placing 47th at Augusta and long shot odds of 60-1 right now. So do insiders know something we don't know, or will Tiger just always be the fan favorite just to throw a few bucks at in these big tournaments?
I think it's that part, you know, like it's Tiger. So look, I'm reading this article now. It's talking about how they watch Tiger Woods practice and they're just like, ooh, we're coming at him. Like I think he's got something going here. And it's just like, look, man, like the dude is always gonna have that, you know, aura around him because he's Tiger, you know, reminiscent of seeing him walk the green on a Sunday in his red polo. Like, we're always going to be rooting for that because, you know, he's greatness. You know, we watch guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, like, because they're great. And we want to see their greatness on display. Steph Curry, what he did last night. Like, we want to see that greatness on display, and he's one of the greatest golfers, if not the greatest golfer that we've ever seen.
Changed the
And
game.
so, yeah. And so it's like, look, anytime Tiger is a part of anything, it's like, okay, don't do this to us, Tiger. Come on, don't do this to us. And it was cool just to see him, finish at Augusta, even though he wasn't really in contention there. But, I think anytime you have him as a part of a tour, as a part of a tournament, you have to be mindful that he could take it, because he's still Tiger Woods.
Well, you never know when he's just going to flip a switch, turn it on, and when Tiger gets hot, man, watch out. Obviously, that's why everybody roots for him. He changed the game, influence and impact. An entire generation of youth golfers, guys like me and you who grew up watching Tiger, getting into a sport we didn't know a ton about. He changed the game forever. It's fun to root for a guy like that for sure.
Absolutely.
Next one up, Alabama head coach Nick Saban made the news yesterday when he called out Texas A&M for buying all their top recruits last year. Bama was second in recruiting last year to only A&M for the first time in years. Reggie, what does it mean for the reputation of the NCAA's new NIL agreement, and how does Saban's comments reflect on college football's new recruiting process we're seeing?
Bruh, this bothered me. Like this was messed up. Like, Nick Saban is that dude that gets pulled over for speeding, and he's just like, look, but why me though? Everybody else is speeding too. It's like, no. We're not talking about everybody else, sir. We're talking about you. I
was just flowing with traffic here, sir.
No. He's the guy that sounds the alarm. Like, everybody else is like sneaking out to recess early,
Ruins
and
the
all
party.
of a sudden he gets picked up by the collar like this, and he's like, wait, but they're already outside. I'm just trying to get out there with them. They're like, no, we're not dealing with them. We're dealing with you now. What this is, man, this is a case of dirty macking on a national scale. Mm-hmm. Like, he's like, hey, baby, look, don't you want to come play with me? Because, look, he don't treat you right. He's a womanizer. He don't even believe in monogamy, girl. Like, you come over here. And baby, we can do some things. I'm talking about wedding ring. I'm talking about, national championship ring. We can win trophies together, baby. Why would you want to go over there? Why would you want to go over there with them? He was just cussing out his mama last night. He don't even respect women. Come on, baby. Like, it's like dirty macking on a big scale. And it's so whack because, like, here you are doing Aflac commercials, national Aflac commercials with Deion Sanders.
Right.
And now you're talking about, well, look at the paper, Jackson State. They paid that dude $1 million to come play for the, like, look at it. It's in the paper. All the people reporting down in Jackson, they're like, wait a minute. We didn't put that in the paper. Where did Nick get that? He's lying. What is he talking about? Deion Sanders now, he's a lie. We didn't pay for, if we had $1 million to give to a play, don't you think our facilities would look a little better than this? Like, it's crazy that Nick would go and do that, because you're big bad Alabama. Like, you don't need all this like NIL stuff. Like, people are coming to Alabama without the NIL commitments because, like, they've seen over the last decade and a half or however long it's been, you guys win championships. There's a blueprint there to win rings at Alabama. And Nick, now you're mad because other people are starting to maybe try to, level the playing field.
Don't be that dude.
Don't be that dude, man. Like, that's whack to me, bro.
You know those celebrity boxing matches for like fundraisers and stuff? Mm-hmm. Nick Saban versus Primetime is the brawl we never knew we needed. That's what we need to put together, because that would be highly entertaining for sure. Some serious words and remarks for sure from Nick Saban, not to be taken lightly. Last one up, what does it mean? Vikings running back Dalvin Cook took to Twitter yesterday to post a clip of him catching a critical third down pass out of the backfield versus the Steelers last season on Thursday Night Football. Reggie, what does it mean when trying to glean any new insight on Kevin O'Connell's new offensive install, as Cook is hinting he could be involved in the passing game for the first time in his career?
Well, you know what? I think Cook is like, look, you know what time it is. you know what I can do. I think Dalvin Cook is just a dynamic player.
No doubt.
And however he can be utilized, the better. As long as he's staying healthy, however he can be utilized, the better off for the Vikings. And I think Kevin O'Connell realizes that. You kind of look at the Rams the last few years. You know, back when they had Ty Gurley, you're talking about maybe one of the best receiving backs in all of the NFL. How they were just kind of putting them on wheel routes, you know, out of the backfield, maybe lining them up out wide or in the slot and just getting him the ball in space and watching him work. It's so sad to see what happened to Ty Gurley in his career because, like, the dude was, like, probably one of the best running backs in all of football. And so I think what Kevin O'Connell sees is he's looking at the film and watching Dalvin Cook, and he's just like, ooh,
like that.
Ooh, we could do this, we could do that. And Dalvin's like, look, the proof is in the pudding. You see what I did right here on this play? I could do even more for you. I'm doing it for you, coach. Put me out wide. Put me on a wheel out of the backfield.
Wherever
Just
you
give
need
it to
me,
me in space. Put me on a wide receiver screen, even though I'm a running back. And watch me work, baby. And I think with this magic and the magic that Kevin O'Connell sees, I think we can see, you know, I'm excited about what this Vikings offense could look like this next year because they were already a dynamic offense with some of the deficiencies that they had, last season. You know, even with some of those slumps and some of those, like, you know, where they were going, 5-6 straight possessions with the punt or whatever, like they were still one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL because the talent is there. And so now when you get a head coach in place who is offensive minded, who can make the offense a little bit more efficient, like we may see some of the best numbers that we've seen out of an offense in a long time next season. And Dalvin Cook is like, look, I want a piece of that, bruh.
A lot of fans have just been banging the table. Get Dalvin involved in this passing game a little bit more. I'm just looking at his stats here. In 2019, under Kevin Stefanski as offensive coordinator, he caught 53 balls on 63 targets, the most he ever had in his career for 519 yards. He can do it. And you look at the Rams offense last year under O'Connell, Sony Michel, Cam Akers, there was about 80 receptions out of the backfield. So
it's crazy.
Certainly there's a lot of room there and volume for Dalvin in the passing game to be had. I think it's just all about finding a way to create mismatches with your best players and getting a guy like Dalvin Cook the football split out wide, matched up on a linebacker, wherever it may be. That's the way, again, you just maximize your players' talents. I certainly think that's what Dalvin Cook was hinting at there a little bit after the few days of OTAs. Yeah.
And you talk about, him banging the drum for Kane. If Kevin O'Connell maybe sees an opportunity to put Kane in on a third down and get him the ball in space and let him use that track speed to break loose, like the possibilities are endless with this team and this offense.
Man, if Irv Smith gets banged up again, he's landed on the IR the last 2 years, we may see no tight ends in this offense. You just may see 3 or 4 or 5 wide receivers. You're going to see 2 or 3 running backs in the backfield. We talked about C.J. Ham a few days ago. He's going to be involved in the offense. Any way you can create those mismatches, I'm certainly excited. I think fans are too, for Kevin O'Connell's kind of the way he's going to drop some of those X factors and mismatches. All right, Reggie, you survived the gauntlet. We're back here tomorrow breaking down more Twins, Vikings, and plenty more. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us every day for another episode covering all the biggest topics in Minnesota sports. He's Reggie Wilson. Follow him on Twitter at Reggie Wilson TV and on Care 11. I'm Luke Inman on Twitter at Luke_Spinman. Tune in tomorrow to Superior Sports Talk, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota. For Reggie, I'm Luke. Until tomorrow, signing out.
Lynx going for win number 2 tonight. Be blessed. Spread love today.
This is Superior Sports Talk with Reggie Wilson and Luke Inman, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota.